Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you? It's been a minute.
Oh my gosh, has it ever? Things have changed, haven't they?
Yes.
So man, I've known you since I think 2017, I think.
Yeah.
Which is
Sounds
crazy to
about
think
right.
about. And you're from Houston originally, but you're not there now. You're more in the Nashville area now, right?
Yes. So I'm in town right now. I'm in the Houston area. Um Montgomery to be specific, but not a lot of people know where that is, so I just say Houston area.
Right?
It's about maybe an hour outside of Houston. But I moved to Nashville about a year and a half ago. It'll be 2 years in February.
And so are
So
you home for the holiday?
I am. Yes, I'm home for Thanksgiving and then I'm going back up because I have some like rights and like content days and stuff like that and shows. I think shows. And then I'm gonna come back down for Christmas and
Well, you
stuff.
better give Mama a big hug and kiss for me. I miss you guys big time.
I will. Miss you too.
Just a little bit of background. So I met Zoe a long time ago under a different name.
Yeah.
But we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But man, this girl right here has done so much charitable stuff for me in the past when we did the Truman W. Smith shows. And her and her mom would come 5 hours, 4 or 5 hours away to do those little gigs. And man, I have so much respect for you from those days just for doing those things.
Of course. I love doing stuff like that and giving back to the community. So anytime.
So first thing, what's I know that about that time is when you decided to rebrand. How is the rebrand going, and do you regret doing it?
I love it. I have no regrets. I so basically how that came about, I guess. So I was it was after COVID
Mm-hmm.
and I started to produce my own stuff because I've been in studios like recording since I had my first like demo session with like a program I was part of whenever I was 12.
Mm-hmm.
So I've really been like in studios constantly since I was 12, so about 12 years now. Um and then COVID happened and I learned how to produce by like just taking like a 30-day course online and then I kind of taught myself the rest. And so I produce my own music now. And then I actually got diagnosed with autism whenever I was 21. So that was like a big thing for me, life moment. I just felt like it was like a good time to just like start over. You know, it
Mm-hmm.
was after COVID happened. I learned how to produce my own stuff and like I feel like a brand new person. So I just put XO in front of some letters from my real name, and here we are.
Yeah,
So,
and you've
yeah,
always been kind of a sponge too. I've known since you were so little, just sponging everything up from musicianship, producing your the video we're going to show today. You independently produced that video as well. Tell us a little bit about the video before we even go into the logistics of the song and all of that.
yeah, of course. So basically, I have my co-writers on the song are really, really, really close friends of mine, Hillary Reese and Olivia Gunn, and I had like the concept all kind of put together. And I was like debating, I was like, should I like hire someone or like should we just like try to do it ourselves? And then I eventually was like, I feel like we could do it decently like ourselves. Like I feel like we could do that. And so part of it, we went over to our friend Abby's house and they had like a burn pile that they'd been needing to
Mm-hmm.
burn for the longest time. And they were like, perfect timing. We were gonna burn this soon anyways. And so I used that for a couple parts of it. And then a couple days later, and so whenever we did that, Olivia and Hillary came along, and then Abby was there with her husband, and then they all were part of the filming process and directing process. And it was really cool, just all of us putting our heads together and being like, oh, it would be cool if we tried this, and what if we
Mm-hmm.
did this? And then we did basically the same thing, Olivia and I, a couple days after that. We went to like a graveyard that I had found on the internet that was really cool. And I was like, I feel like it would be sick to shoot some shots here. And then we found some like abandoned churches and it was just really cool. And yeah, it's the video is very like it's kind of because the song itself is about like a best friend breakup. And so I kind of like made the video as like a like especially at the end of it is very like I'm done. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean?
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
in the TikTok age, it's so funny to see videos come together that look so professionally done when in fact they're typically not. You
Yeah.
can really present a really cool visual experience for people without thousands of dollars of equipment nowadays. If
Yeah.
you really think about it and do it well, this is done really, really well. Like, I'm really proud of you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Of
That
course.
means a lot. I edited the whole thing myself, and like I put the text on it myself and aligned each clip all by myself. And yeah, like I said, Olivia and Hillary and Abby, they were all part of the filming process, as well as Abby's husband actually.
Mhm.
And then Olivia filmed it on, like, she has a camera, a really, really good camera. And she was like, I like barely use it. Should we like use it? And I was like, yeah. So we used it, and that's what the whole thing was shot on. Yeah.
So one of the things we talked about years ago when you were on the show is the struggle of a country music, or rather, the struggle of an artist who's not a country music artist from the state of Texas. You being
Yes.
really more of a pop artist. Now you're in Tennessee, which is also inundated with a lot of country music.
Right.
So how's the pop experience for you? First in Texas, now in
Yeah.
Tennessee.
So Texas, how do I word this? I feel like both places are full of amazing talent.
Of
Like,
course,
first and
yeah.
foremost, like everyone's so talented that's in the music scene in both places. But I will say Nashville has a lot more pop than the Texas scene does. Cause I feel like whenever I was mainly in Texas, like full time, there wasn't really, and I honestly don't really know how it is now
Mhm.
because like I've been dealing with some stuff this year and I just haven't gotten to come home for a little bit. But from my experience that I've had being here, it's very like few and far between that you get like pop artists. Like there will be like R&B or like hip hop down in
Right.
like Houston
Hmm.
area, and then out in like Montgomery and Conroe where I'm from, there's like, the Texas country red dirt type of stuff. Like you have your Parker McCollums and stuff like that, which he's so talented.
Yeah.
Fun fact, my dad played basketball with his, I think it's his dad and like his uncle or something like that. I just think that's so cool. I'm like, that's such a small world. But anyways, um, yeah, I feel like down here it was like very few and far between that I was able to find like pop artists. And up in Nashville, a lot of people are like, oh, that's like the country music capital.
Hmm.
Like that's, Music City. It's like full of country music, but it's actually, especially nowadays, it's starting to even grow more to be an extremely diverse city of so many different genres.
I
Like you
find that
have,
interesting because you have never had country vibes in your music. Like, it's not there. I mean,
yeah, it's,
it's so, like, it's just like, wow, I love that you're killing it. Like, no matter where
oh,
you go,
thank
it's so
you.
cool because, like I said, there is no country vibes in the music.
Yeah,
Even
well,
though you're
thank
from
you.
Texas, now you're dealing with Nashville and co-writes. And
Yeah.
how hard is it to find kind of artists that are within your same lane around you in Nashville?
I've gotten very lucky from the beginning. I played a couple of writers rounds when I first moved to town in 2023, and I met some really talented other woman pop artists, and I co-wrote with them and like became friends with them. And then they themselves actually started forming these like groups, like not showcase, but like basically showcase type like writers round like groups of solely pop
Hmm.
artists that are in Nashville. And so it's become this really cool like community of people who don't fall under the country umbrella up there. And yeah, it's just like I'm constantly meeting people that are like not country. Like I have close friends that do write country music. Like one of my best friends, Hillary Reese, she's a country artist and she's from South Mississippi, so she's as country gets. But it's like we're still really close friends, and it's just really cool to just like see, all of that being in one place. Um, but yeah, I feel like my music specifically doesn't have, like you said, any like country
Yeah.
vibe, but I find myself, since I am surrounded by both more pop music up there, but also a lot of country music as well. And since I was, down here for a while, growing up on country music and stuff like that, I write country songs
Hmm.
with my friends that sing country music. And then they'll write songs with me that are pop music. Like my friend Hillary that I mentioned, she's a country artist. but she wrote on Villain, which is like my alt rock pop song. So it's just really cool to
It's
see
just so
how,
funny because, like, being in Texas and interviewing a lot of Texas artists, like, I know a lot of folks that are going from Nashville to Texas, back and forth. They're
yeah.
all country artists, all of them, except for you. You are the only one that is not
Yeah.
country that is doing that, like, back and forth. Maybe not quite as much, you know, coming back to Texas quite that much, but still, I would have saw like L.A. for you, or you know, New York
Yeah.
City or something like that. So back in the day when I saw you head to Nashville, I was like, that's interesting. So I was like, if
Yeah.
I ever get to talk to her again, I'm going to ask about that.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like it also, just quick little tidbit, like I feel like it also just made the most sense because it was closest to home, and I
Right.
also already knew people up there, so it just kind of made sense, and it was like more comfortable for me because I did think about LA or New York
Right.
like multiple times.
Yeah.
I thought about New York whenever I was 16, and then I went to LA a few times, and even up until before I moved, before I decided I was going to move to Nashville, I had even thought about it again. But then I just went to Nashville one time, and someone asked me specifically, like, so they thought I lived there already because I was there so much already.
Right.
She was like, "Well, why don't you live in Nashville already?" And I couldn't really answer her question. And so I was like, maybe I need to move here. And so literally like September, October, November, December, 5 months later, I was there. So,
well, this
yeah.
is exciting, man. Just to have you back in the house on the show here. Let's talk about Villain, and we're going to play the song to kick off our hour this week. Again, this is the alt rock pop like mix.
Yeah.
Just a fabulous song. When I saw the video for the first time, I was like, okay, if I do something again with this, I want to talk to Xoe because this is fabulous. So take us into the room when Villain's being created.
Yeah. So basically, I got with my friends Olivia Gunn and Hillary Reese. Olivia is also, she's like a pop, like kind of has like subtle hints of R&B, but she's pop, like that's like kind of like the umbrella term. And she's amazing as well. So her, me, and Olivia, Hillary and I, sorry, me, Olivia, Hillary, all three of us, we had a co-write scheduled. And long story short, like the track originally wasn't even produced for me. It was originally for someone else. But then some things happened, some things, you know, fell through, and they basically, I had permission to use the production for my stuff because I produced it myself. And so I was like sitting on it, and I didn't know if I wanted to do anything with it or not. But then I started talking to Olivia and Hillary about just like also this really bad best friend breakup I was going through. And then I showed them the track, and they were like, well, what if we wrote to this track about your best friend breakup that you're going through? And I was like, okay, sick, let's do it. And we did. And it was funny because we were writing it and we got stuck on the second verse, and it was like 10 p.m. at night by the time we got to that. And we were like, okay, what is everyone doing tomorrow? Do you guys want to just like come back and just like get the second verse down? Because it won't take long. We're just all tired at this point. So we came back the next day, finished it within like an hour. And yeah, and then I recorded my vocals over the track, and that's kind of just what you hear. I sent it off to my friend Joey DiPrizio, and he's an incredible audio engineer, mixing and mastering engineer. He's so good. And sent it to him, and that's how the song came to be. And then I wasn't originally going to release it as a single, like at all. I was just going to have it on the album, and it's so much like, I want to say heavier, but it's like not as like heavy as like heavy music gets. But like for me, it's pretty heavy. It's like very Sleep Token, you know, esque. And so I wasn't going to put it out as a single. But then again, some life things happened, and then I just impulsively was like, I need to put this out as a single. Like,
how often do you postpone on a write like that? And like, how hard is it to pick the vibe back up sometimes when you postpone?
I honestly, that's been the only time that's really like, well, there's been one other time that's happened, but usually it's, even with those same people that I write with all the time, like it's usually we finish the song like within 2 hours.
So familiarity really helps keep the vibe alive.
Yes, yeah. For sure. And we're all very like open with each other and like know how we work, and it meshes very well. So I've definitely gotten lucky with the group of people that I'm working with in Nashville that I'm really close friends with as well. But yeah, I think I've only ever had to do more than one day on a write, maybe twice. So it doesn't happen often,
Very
but
lucky.
Even whenever it does,
lucky.
it's still fun.
Yeah.
So
Well, we're really excited to have you here. Thank you for coming in and talking about the song. We're going to play the song for everybody. And anytime you have new stuff, let me know. Let me know. We can do stuff like this always. So
for
I
sure.
appreciate your time tonight, Xoe. We're going to get right into the song. You have a great rest of your
Thanks.
night.
You too.
All right.